What's up, everyone? Thank you for checking out and supporting this episode of Raised a Geek. This week, we are here to talk about the Royal Rumble 2025 that literally just happened less than an hour ago. I'm here with my buddy Don. We're going to react to it. How we doing, man?
Chris, what is up today, my friend? Everything's okay? Yes. We are here doing our Royal Rumble 2025 instant reaction. Just
Instant.
watched it, and we pretty much already know what each other's gonna say because we texted each other the entire time,
Entire time.
back and forth about every little detail and every little thing. So we probably already kind of have an idea of about how each other feels about this, but we're gonna say it out loud and put it out there into the world.
It comes across differently when you're saying it out loud versus when you're texting it. Sometimes those jokes just don't come all the way through the right way.
It's true. And like, since we were texting so much during it, like I feel like there were certain parts where I'm replying to you because I want to reply fast so we can like keep talking.
Mhm.
I like missed something, and like I was like, "Damn it!" I was looking at my phone because I'm talking to my friend.
Yep.
I didn't see that elimination. I didn't see that happen. I didn't blah blah blah.
Yeah, I know. I 100%. I totally missed the first curb stomp that Seth gave Roman.
Oh yeah.
Totally missed that because I was looking at my phone. Luckily, they replayed it at the end.
Well, yeah. Even like the spot in the women's match, which we'll get to, where like Nia eliminated like half the field and a bunch of contenders. Like I wasn't looking at the screen at that moment because I was texting you, and then I heard the commotion. I looked up. I was like, "What the hell's going on here?"
Yeah,
So
chaos. Chaos. What was even wilder was that we had friends that were actually there, and they were like 90 seconds ahead of us easily.
yeah,
90 seconds, and we're like, you guys need to stop texting us. Just stop. We can't talk anymore. Um,
because our one buddy who traditionally keeps a list of all the entrants because that's like a thing he's done since for 20 years or probably longer, 30 years. Wanted to do it live with us, and he gave us the first woman to come out in the match. And I was like, nope, we ain't doing this. I'm
I'm
not.
like, yeah, I'm like texting him. I'm like, are you predicting or are you spoiling? And he's just like, this is how I'm gonna keep my list this year with the text. And I was like, no, you're not.
He was like, aren't you guys watching live? Like, yeah, apparently, though, the feed is 30 seconds to a minute behind. So we cannot have you doing this. That's like for a couple years, Adam Schefter in the NFL or Ian Rappaport, who's like the other guy
Yeah.
who the NFL Network like insider. They used to text out the draft picks of the NFL draft before they were announced on TV. People were just like, nope, this ain't, you guys can't do this no more. And like, I stopped following Adam Schefter for doing that because one year that was happening. Like, my phone was dinging with the pick before it was on TV. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like seeing it on my phone before I have the opportunity to see it on TV.
Yeah, then what's the point of watching it? You guys need to cut that shit out.
Right. Yeah.
That was a situation we almost found ourselves in tonight for the Royal Rumble. But man, what's crazy is that well, now I guess this is the latest the Royal Rumble's ever been, February 1st.
Oh, yeah.
But this is one of my favorite nights of the year. Like, I love the Royal Rumble, always have. It's just one of my favorite wrestling events, and then just nights. I always have fun watching the Royal Rumble, and it's crazy that it happened so early in the year. Like, the rest of the year, I'm like, it's garbage.
Well, yeah, the big four, which we have now, this is our third one in a row doing this. We're trying to keep this streak going of doing the big four. Yeah, SummerSlam is like kind of got a uniqueness to it with the SummerSlam matchup or War Games as it's been the past few years. Did I say SummerSlam? I meant Survivor Series. Survivor Series is like its own thing with War Games. Then SummerSlam comes along in August, which is just like a mini Mania, or it's just like kind of like basically as close to Mania as you can get. They just do it in the summertime.
Right.
So it's your summer season Mania. Then of course WrestleMania is the big one where they try to do all the big stuff 2 nights. I know everything's going 2 nights pretty soon, but like that's the big one. But yeah, Royal Rumble is special just because of the Rumble match.
It's fun.
It's just fun. It's just so unique having 30 entrants come out 2 minutes apart. Everybody you know and like has well, yeah, everybody you
2 minutes apart ish.
2 minutes apart ish. So it's a bunch of people everybody gets involved, and it's just like the stakes are fun because like, all right, this is the official start of WrestleMania season. Like whoever wins this thing is going to main event WrestleMania. So it's just always been fun.
Right.
I've loved the event for years and years and years. You know.
Love it. And this was the 2025 version. It was streaming on Peacock. You can watch all of the replays over on Peacock. And we're gonna let you know what we thought about it, but we always, of course, want to know what you thought about the Royal Rumble 2025. If you watched it, if you didn't, whatever, you need to hit us up, and you know how to do that over on social media at Raise the Geek. You can email us at raisethegeek@gmail.com, or those are the ways.
Those are the ways. Give us a like on all the platforms too. Like and a follow and a subscribe, all those things. Helps
All
out.
those things. We talk about a lot of shit, a
Mhm.
lot of things, and we always want to know what you want to hear us talk about, or what you want to talk to us about.
Both.
Join the conversation, all of those things. So, Royal Rumble 2025
Mhm.
kicked off in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
70,000 people there.
So what time did it start tonight? Central Time, 5
5.
p.m. So it ended
Like
9:30.
9:20.
Only four matches, only four things.
Yeah.
So men's rumble, women's rumble, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm glad has been an addition over the years. When we were young, there was never a women's Royal Rumble, but the women's division has gotten so good over the past decade longer, and now there is always a women's one. So we got our two rumbles, and then a tag team match and a world title match. So four things. Enough for you, or do you wish there was something more, or they could have shortened something to fit something else in there, or how do you feel about that?
I was honestly cool with the 4. The Rumble matches are long enough. You start throwing in a bunch of other matches, and I get burned out. It went for about 4.5 hours.
Sure.
I was cool. I mean, you're really only there for the Rumble matches. None of the other 2 matches were meh. I mean, they were what they were.
Yeah.
So I was cool with it. I mean, you start throwing other. I mean, obviously, if you throw some more matches with maybe some higher stakes or some bigger matches, I was watching the other day while I was working. I was watching Royal Rumble 2020, and they had a whole bunch of crazy, like, it was like Asuka and Becky and Daniel Bryan versus the Fiend Bray Wyatt, and like they had a stacked card for that with the men's and women's Rumble, and that was a big 5 or 6 hour show. And then, I mean, those were all solid matches. So I mean, as I was watching through that while I was working, I was like, I'm not mad at any of this, but I'm also cool that some of these shows kind of get shorter.
Yeah.
We kind
Yeah.
of are just doing it.
And yeah, for sure. I was just curious because even lately, a PLE that doesn't have a Rumble match will just be like five matches max.
Yeah.
But having the two Rumbles and you got to get 30 people in there, and then a lot of time once the 30th person is in, you still have a lot of time left to fill to like finish the match up. So it takes a while. So
Yeah.
yeah, I was okay with it too.
Each one of these Rumble matches were easily pushing 90 minutes, if not easily
Yeah.
90 minutes. So, I mean, 3 hours was pretty much the Rumbles. So
Uh,
I'm really excited. I think, granted, it's a whole other real random thing, but I'm pretty sure next year's Royal Rumble is going 2 nights. And
So they could do like night one, women's is the main event, night two, is the main event.
if there was ever an event that needed 2 nights, it's the Royal Rumble.
Right.
I think
Right.
that would be really cool to be able to give each one, and hopefully make each one weighted the same, because obviously, this year everyone was a lot more excited for the men's Royal Rumble versus the women's. The women's didn't have as much kind of like mystique behind it. It had some hopes and dreams, which we can discuss where we got. I think I'm going to throw a curveball at you, because I think the people who are coming in, people who might be listening to this, they might be just thinking, how the fuck did this show end? So I kind of want to talk about the men's Royal Rumble real quick.
Sure, we can
And
do it.
like, this is really what the night's here to talk about. And like, full on spoilers, you didn't watch it, you shouldn't be here, and you wouldn't be here. But like,
Well, if you are and you haven't watched it yet, this is your last chance.
the
Get
last
out.
chance, because it's about to come out of my mouth. It's coming out very close to almost. Yeah. Jey Uso won the fucking Royal Rumble.
Yeet.
Yeet.
Chris. Yeah. Something you had predicted. in our group text, which I kind
I did.
of when you were putting that out there, I never said it because you're my friend. I was just like, shut up, you're wrong. But it came true. Yeah,
I didn't. I really thought it was a long shot, but at the same time, I can see, especially since WWE has moved to Netflix and this like self congratulatory like we're gonna blow ourselves all over network TV. I can see them like just being like, hey, we're gonna have 70,000 people in this stadium. If Jey Uso wins, we're gonna have 70,000 people yeeting, and that's gonna be a hell of a shot at the end of this show. And it doesn't. We'll figure out the Cody half of the main event. We'll figure that out, at the Elimination Chamber in a month. But we can end the Royal Rumble, give Gunther his challenger because we know that that's where Jey Uso's going,
for sure.
and that's going to be the heavyweight championship match. Which at this point we just assume Jey Uso's gonna beat him and gonna
Because
be the new heavyweight champ.
they've already fought like 3 times, and Gunther's won every time.
Yeah,
They just fought at Saturday night's main event for the
yeah,
same match. So the match you just saw like a week ago on NBC is the main event, one of the main
yep.
events. So
And it wasn't good on NBC. So
yeah.
and I think you said this as well. I'm extremely happy for Jey Uso. He's
Mhm.
been there a long time. He's getting that. This does nothing for me.
Uh,
Like I don't watch Jey Uso matches. I fast forward through his entrance. He does nothing for me. So like literally Gunther and I love Gunther, but every Gunther and Jey Uso match has been a bathroom break for me, and it's gonna be the same thing for Mania. I don't even know if this is gonna be the main event of night one, but it's the championship match, and good for him. And you know what? When he wins the title, good for him. Like as a person, I'm happy for him. Granted, even at the Rumble and in the press show, he didn't really seem very excited.
yeah, yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna stake my prediction right now. I think this is the opening match of night one. A couple. I mean, they kind of always want to start with something that has some consequence, so like a title can change
Uh-huh.
hands. Rhea's match, I think, was last year the first match, like a championship match to start night one.
The night two first match was Drew and Seth for the championship last year.
Right. So I think this is a first match on one of the nights, whether it's one or two. I,
100%.
I'm kind of with you. Listen, nothing against Jay.
Nope.
Same thing you just said, which you echoed what I said earlier, and we
Yeah.
both been saying it. Like he deserves the push because he's got the crowd on his side. He's got people react to him for whatever reason. They just are
Mhm.
drawn to the eating. They like his character. It's a lot of young wrestling fans are really into him. Um, my biggest thing with Jay is just I'm not a fan of
Yep.
his in-ring stuff. He's kind of to me like a four move guy. And that's really like 3 or 4
He,
move guy. Him and Jimmy as the Usos was a great run as tag team champions because they were feeding off each other and they had a lot of like tag team moves and they were,
Mhm.
their personas back then, like being these bad heel guys that were just dominant. They worked well together. Of course, they're twin brothers. They know each other inside and out, so they
Mhm.
worked well as a tag team. Just something about the solo run so far for Jey Uso just doesn't work for me.
He's still wrestling as a tag team wrestler. He
Mhm.
just throws super kicks. That's all he does. He just throws super kick, super kick, super kick, super kick, splash,
Super kick splash, and then the
a
punches
spear randomly.
where they can yell yeet.
Yeah.
Either get him on the turnbuckle and do 10 yeets or punch him a bunch of times so he can get a bunch of yeets. Like there's always a guy like that. Or like the crowd
What
just wants to say the catchphrase.
what was wild to me, and this has been since like Jey Uso kind of turned into this main event and did the Yeetmeister thing, was that LA Knight was doing that with the yeah.
Mhm.
And
Which is
then like all
why they insisted on the spot tonight of the yeet yeah back and
yeah.
forth because they know the crowd was going to get into it.
But I almost feel like if I was LA Knight, I feel like I would have been upset at Jey Uso. Like when he started doing the yeet thing, I'd been like, dude, you're stealing my shit.
That was my thing.
And what's wild is I feel like since it took off, the yeet took off with Jey Uso, LA Knight is cooled down. And he doesn't do the yeah thing nearly as much as he did. Like you could tell that he clearly was like, I can't do that anymore. Or they told him, you can't do that anymore. That's Jay's thing. It's too close,
Right. Yeah.
which
This
is crazy.
this seemed like the spot that LA Knight was supposed to be ascending to.
Right?
He was supposed to be the guy who wins the Royal Rumble in 2025. He was supposed to be the guy with the whole crowd behind him chanting his catchphrase, which they still do, but it's just like they're like, we'll give you the US title for a couple months, then
Yeah.
we'll see what you can do.
Yeah. So it was just I was surprised as the match was going on that I was like, holy shit, I think like I threw it out there as like Jey Uso's gonna win because my only thought behind that was literally WWE wants to have that ending. That was it. Like I don't think they can resist that. And that's ultimately what it seemed like it was.
But would there not have been just as big of a crowd reaction if CM Punk's the winner? If
No, I
John
100% think there would have been.
if John Cena is the last man standing, is the crowd not on their feet, when his theme music is playing?
Looking at the crowd reaction to Jey Uso winning, I almost think that they would have been larger. Like it didn't, and it could just have come across on TV, how it
Mhm.
came across on TV. But I felt like there were a lot of moments tonight that were a lot larger than Jey Uso winning to end the night.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we're both kind of on the same page, like happy for the man, but
Yeah.
a little confused, and it makes me I don't know. I like when a rumble ends and it's the last man standing in the ring, pointing up at the WrestleMania sign, and me feeling like
Hell
Wrestle
yeah.
WrestleMania is gonna be fucking awesome. And
Yep.
there has been a lot of those. And this one I'm just kind of like, oh, just a little like golf clap.
Yeah.
Like, good job, Jay, but that doesn't do anything for me. I know you're not gonna main event night two. Like you the guy standing in the rumble at the end of it, who's the last man standing, be like, that's a main event. That's a night two show finisher. That's like Cody Rhodes versus Roman. That's whoever you want to say from past years being like, that's a huge match. Him facing the
Yeah.
current champion. And just Jay, it's like, I
Well,
don't know.
and you also want to have that almost that sometimes I mean, and it goes both ways. So what I say isn't going to necessarily always going to work this way because it didn't work that way with Cody last year. But like sometimes you want them standing up on the rope, pointing at that sign, and you also want to wonder like who are they going to pick? Oh my
Sure.
god, I want to see him fight either one, but is it going to be Cody? Is it going to be Gunther? What are they going to do? And it's just like soon as Jay won, you're like, all right, well he's going to go fight Gunther. He's going to win. Okay, next.
Well, even I don't even know before we started here, they had they always do the press conference afterwards.
Yeah.
I'll be caught in any of it. And someone asked Jay, like, who are you gonna fight? He was like, well, I'd really like another shot at Gunther, but then I'm thinking Cody. So I'm looking both ways, like, who do I want to yeet on? But then he was like, no, but seriously, I want to fight Gunther again. So it's like there's no mystery to it.
No, I mean he cut that promo on Raw on Monday saying, "I know I can beat Gunther.
Yeah.
Gunther's great. He's got my number. He's beaten me 3 times in a row. I know I could beat him. Okay, well then you're gonna go beat him. Like, okay, cool, whatever." He fought Gunther a bunch of times for the IC title and lost, and he fought him 3 times for the heavyweight title and lost, and all of those matches have been boring, and I don't expect this one to be any different. And like I said, it's just kind of it was a very lackluster close. I mean, realistically, this whole show ultimately, I had a lot of fun watching this show. The Rumble matches, both Rumble matches, the other matches, which we'll talk about very briefly. I had a lot of fun watching this show, and I would give this show a thumbs up overall. So if you're on the fence, if you didn't watch, you're curious, but the endings for these matches were very kind of just like meh.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
ultimately.
Nothing too crazy. I mean, anything else from the men's rumble that like stood out to you? The only
I think the number one overall idea was that CM Punk was going to win this thing.
he was the favorite, I
He was
think.
the favorite across the board, I think.
Lions, yeah.
The fact of how he went out, when he went out, was very unexpected. I gasped. I wasn't expecting it. Logan Paul getting the evil heel spot there at the end, kind of like Nia Jax got with the women, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I was kind of surprised by that, and then it's just trying to figure out. Okay, well, we were talking about like you and I were texting. We're like, okay, Drew McIntyre and Roman got to be the Mania match, right? Now is it going to be Drew and Damian? We doing a triple threat? Are we doing Punk, Rollins, and Roman?
Yeah, the issue with the men's division right now at the top is it's so crowded, and this did nothing to help because now you've added Jey Uso into it. So one of the big matches is already given to him. There's so many guys up there right now where it's like, well, they need something to do at Mania. What are they gonna do? Who are they fighting? Like you got Roman and Seth and Punk and the other people you just named, like Damian and Drew, and like basically the last 10 guys in the Rumble. Like who's John Cena gonna fight now at WrestleMania? Like there's just there's so many spots. There's only so many spots you can fill, and it's like, who's gonna be doing what now because of how this ended?
You have to assume that I'm thinking that you're looking at Jay and Gunther are doing their thing, so that's done. We have Elimination Chamber in March, so we're looking at what? Roman, Seth, Punk, Drew, Priest, and Cena. You
For the
got maybe Logan Paul instead of Priest
yeah, I think
for the six because the Elimination Chamber 6.
you probably go Logan over.
Logan over Priest.
So I think so
So you have those 6 in there. Punk and Cody. You do Punk and Cody, Rollins, Roman.
because I think it's become more clear than ever now that we're not getting Rock, Dwayne Johnson, in
Yeah,
May.
no, Rock. Yeah, whatever.
I think if you were going to do that, you would have already had to plant those seeds.
He would have been in the Rumble.
And I think the way that Punk and Roman and Seth kind of ended there at the end, I think you got to have some kind of Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns thing, whether it's somebody else with them, whether it's you throw in Punk as the third, or you throw in Drew, or all 4 of them, or just Seth versus Roman as a match. Like, I just think that's the direction they decided that's going to go. There's not going to be a title involved. It's just going to be those guys going at it in some form or another.
With Cody and Rollins and Reigns.
Yeah, and then who fights Cody? I mean, that's still up. I don't think it's going to be Roman. I don't think it's going to be Seth. Most likely is Punk.
Punk or Cena?
Cena versus Cody. What is that though? Like who's the face?
I mean, Punk and Cody.
That's what I mean. Punk and Cody. Punk and Cody could work. I think Punk and Cody would work.
I think it's gotta be, and you gotta do Roman and Reigns. Cena's gonna fight Logan. I could see Cena doing Logan Paul at Mania. I could also see him doing Orton
if they find a way to bring him back. Yeah,
if they bring Orton back, I could see them wanting to maybe redo that. I feel like that's kind of early in the John Cena retirement tour to do Orton Cena. I feel like that almost needs to be like one of the last ones.
That could be his last match.
I realistically, when you ultimately look at the Cena retirement tour, that's what I want his last match to be, is Orton. I feel like that would be a good last match for him.
2 legends, 2 old time guys who know each other.
But yeah, it's just wild at how this kind of went. The CM Punk of it throws me off a little bit, and seeing him kind of getting involved with Roman and Seth.
And then like we both were texting with each other, like Drew getting eliminated so unceremoniously.
Yeah, by Damian Priest.
Yeah, like what are we doing? What are we doing there? So the men's picture is very. I'm glad I don't know who Cody's fighting yet. It's that one's still up in the air. We know who Gunther's fighting. That one's
whatever.
It's written in stone. Put it to the side. Now it's just like, all right, who you guys gonna have Cody fight at WrestleMania?
Now, are you kind of disappointed? Like, we had this Rumble, we had 30 people. Obviously, the big thing with the Rumbles is surprises. The only real surprise that we got was Joe Hendry, and that wasn't even really a surprise.
There's people who don't even know who that is. So
he got a decent pop, but
he's he's viral. He's an internet thing. Yeah.
So he got a pop. He got his moment. It was fine. But I mean, he was really it when it comes to surprises. The only other surprise that looking through the list is maybe AJ Styles just coming back from injury.
I was gonna say AJ got his little pop because it was nice to see him come back, but nothing like, oh my god, crazy, he's back, or he's here, or they hired him,
Yeah.
or you know what
It's
I mean?
Diesel.
It, there were no moments like that, which yeah, not
I mean, we had I Show Speed.
oh god. And you know what? They always do end up doing stuff like this, like a waste entrant, whether it's Michael Cole or Pat McAfee or some like old legend who you're like, all right, you're wasting a spot for somebody else. And I Show Speed was kind of that. That's just appealing to. I'm not trying to sound like old man get off my lawn, Clint Eastwood, old man waves at cloud. But just, geez, come on.
I
Oh,
was I was grateful in how they handled it. That it was one that it was like Akira Tozawa came out and they got beat up by
hello.
yeah, Carmelo Hayes, which that's a whole other I could do a whole podcast on the shame that is Carmelo Hayes. But the and then it was like, oh my God, what do we do now? Like in Triple H is in the back, we gotta get somebody out there. So the fact that like I Show Speed took Akira's place worked for me in a way of knowing that it's not like he's taking up a space. Like he was already basically taking up a jobber slot.
Well,
Kind of made it be a little bit more okay, and he got speared to hell by Braun Breaker, which I didn't mind.
yeah, that was cool as hell. He
That
did
was a
take.
nasty ass. That was a nasty ass spear. And then was that the person that they were playing catch with?
Yeah, they threw him out of the ring really hard and like
Well, it
into.
was like Braun Breaker threw him to Otis, and like Otis caught him and then threw him over the table. So they were like, they beat the shit out of that poor little kid.
Yeah. Uh yeah, but you know what? And we haven't talked about the women's yet because we're going all out of order.
I know. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I dig it. I'm with it. The men's thing is a big thing we're talking about first. But the thing the women's match did better, which we'll get into, was that I Show Speed spot or that Akira spot or that whatever spot. You could have given these spots to your young NXT talent,
Yep.
which is what the women's match did well. Like, I don't even remember how many there were, but I know there were at least 3 or 4 of these NXT women who deserve the push and deserve the eyes on them, who came up and had a nice showing in their Rumble, and,
Mm-hmm.
like, well, the men's didn't do that. They didn't have
Any
Kirk Williams coulda came up.
right?
He's ready for his push. Their current champion, I can't even think of his name, like, you coulda had him in there.
Was that
Uh
Obafemi?
Yeah, something like that. But there's quite a few guys down there where it's like, where's my rumble spot? No, I show speed instead of me. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So I don't know why creative's decision was like, oh yeah, let's throw these NXT women who are really doing well and give them you know, this big platform and put them in the rumble. But they decided none of the men are good enough to do that. That kind of like was like, all right,
No, I didn't think about it, but you're 100% right. Like, why we got zero NXT men?
yeah. And it's not like you're not doing that across the board because you did it with the women. So why why not the men? Uh,
Maybe they're just more excited about the women.
maybe so. I don't
I mean,
know.
that women's roster in NXT is stacked,
Clearly, yeah. Which will
clearly.
one.
And as I'm sitting here, like looking back, I'm almost like, did I enjoy the women's Rumble better?
Well, I think we kind of talked about the men, so we can talk about the women
Yeah,
match.
I'm kind of shifting over, but we
Yeah,
had, and we kind of said it. So once again, Charlotte Flair comes back after a year and wins the women's Rumble to the surprise of no one.
very expected.
I mean, she got pyro in her entrance, so of course she was going to win.
Was the
Um,
only
she was the only one who did all night, and the only one that I think ever. So it's kind of a wild, just kind of So I had a lot of I did have fun watching the women's Rumble mostly. There were a couple things that I did, and I feel like they did them at the expense of Charlotte Flair, which is kind of annoying. But looking at like the NXT, looking at some of this other things that they did, I'm like, was that a better Rumble match than the men's?
I'll say it without debate. I like the women's better.
Yeah, had more
Well,
fun.
I think I had more fun with it. I honestly did. I was more captivated by the entrance, like the
Mhm.
people in it. They gave the NXT women a shot, and they had way more unexpected surprises and
Yeah,
returns.
yeah.
Charlotte came back, Alexa came back, Alexa Bliss came back, uh, Trish Stratus was an entrant,
Nikki Bella.
Bella number 30. I think the women's rumble was more engaging. I don't
Hmm.
know. Had some good spots too, like Jordan Grace with her fucking crazy
That
uh
was honestly, I think, the spot of the night.
it
Jordan
was
Grace, like, just like squatting Piper Niven and then doing whatever the fuck her cartwheel slam is to her
it was like a
was
Frank
wild.
like a Frankenstein or whatever it was some crazy move. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know her moves enough. I've seen that move before, but that move, when I watched her do that in that moment, I legit got chills. Like, I watched her and I had a physical reaction to that moment, and I was like, hell yeah. And she was my pick to win. I really wanted them to just strap their rocket to her and say fuck it, and just throw, just be like, you know what, it's her first night in, just give her the Rumble. Why not?
Yes.
Let her go fight Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. She doesn't have to win, but
Or, was
her
it-
and Rhea would have killed it.
or Tiffany. Her and Tiffany too would have put on a
Right.
crazy. Uh yeah, sorry she got eliminated so quick for you.
She
Good news
did.
good news is I read somewhere that she is under contract for WWE now though, so she'll be around.
Yeah, and I think Cole said something about that. Like, last year she was the TNA champ. This year she's ours. something, something along those lines.
Oh, but just altogether, I don't know. I just had a I was very captivated by the women's match, and it also just like goes to show how far the women's division has come for our time watching wrestling. Like, go back to the Attitude Era and stuff. Women were just valets, and it was like if a woman did wrestle, it's like she had no business doing it. Like Sable or Stacy Keebler,
Yeah,
like
it was all TNA.
yeah, they were bra and panties matches and stuff. And now just how like respected women's game is for the women who are actually very, very good at this. Like people like Bianca Belair and Jordan Grace and like who are really good. Uh, I don't know, man. I just had a good time watching that match, regardless of Charlotte winning the thing.
What was wild is that they pulled up 30 women,
Mhm.
and they really didn't lean on any legends this year.
Except
Trish is the closest. Like, usually they'll fill it up with like Kelly Kelly's and Maurice and Molly
Nita.
Holly and Victoria and some, all of these things, all of these people. And no, I mean, they filled those spots with NXT. We got Julia from NXT. We got Stephanie McCour from NXT. We got Jada Parker. We got Lash Legend, which I always enjoy seeing Lash Legend.
That's
Right. Um, so I mean, it's like we got four NXT women, Roxana Perez, so five.
she was final three, Roxanne
She
Perez.
was final two.
I think she's yeah, final two. I think she set a record for time, like over an hour.
I believe it. So I mean, it's like we had five NXT women, and Nikki Bella. Yes, she would be history, but she's, as far as I'm aware, she's back. So this was her like return. So as far as I'm aware, Nikki Bella is back as like a full-time wrestler.
And same with Alexa Bliss. Yeah.
Same with Alexa Bliss. So those don't really count as like legends.
Right.
So I mean, and Jordan Grace, as you said, got signed. So I mean, Trish Stratus is the only person, the only woman who was in this match that was technically a legend,
It just goes to show how deep the women's,
right?
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of them are just so crazy over. And Rhea Ripley wasn't even on this card. Like probably the biggest name in the women's division wasn't even on this card, didn't even appear at the show. So it was just like, or Tiffany Stratton. So it just goes to show how like deep the women's division is now in WWE.
Now I could tell you the one thing I did not need with this match is I did not need Michael Cole basically calling me an ass during this match for when Alexa Bliss came out. I thought the internet said she wasn't gonna be here. All right, Cole.
He was trolling the trolls right
Yeah,
there.
he was trolling the trolls, and I'm like, come on, man. I understand. We all heard those like news things that they were having contract disputes, and that's fine. But you don't need to like shove it in our face, like, ha, you got the inside track. You work for WWE. You know what's happening.
Right, and also all of us aren't internet trolls. You
Right.
know, we're just watching it, dude. Don't get mad at me. Like, I'm not who you mad at, fucking whatever dirt sheet, like what Wade said, like, be mad at them. I'm just
Yeah.
watching.
I'm just watching the show. I was shocked. I didn't expect Alexa Bliss. It's been over 2 years since she showed up. I thought she looked great, and that was a surprise, a genuine surprise, because I did hear those reports that she wasn't gonna be there. So I was like, hey, as you were telling me the same thing with Jordan Grace, who was posting like tickets of plane tickets to say I'm not gonna be there.
Well, she was doing kayfabe on Twitter, like, I'm not gonna let these people know I'm there because they said I'm going to, so I'm gonna lie and say, "No, I'm not."
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciated that. But yeah, I didn't. Even as you were telling me that, I was like, she's gonna be there.
We can't not talk about, if we're talking about this match, the Nia Jax, uh, coming in very late. I think she was, like, entrant number
29.
29, okay, so she was right there towards the end.
Yep.
Uh, just the spot of there were so many great women there in the end when she came in 29, like, who's gonna win? We still got Bianca in here, we still got Liv, we still got Naomi, a bunch of people who could
EO.
Io, Sky. There's just so many women in here who could potentially still win this thing. Like, yeah, this is great. This is gonna be a great finish. And then just her doing her superpower Hulk stuff, which she does, which I get because she's bigger than everybody else. Like, I'm sure Nia Jax is a very nice person in real life. I do not love her in ring stuff, never have. Just because how they portray her sometimes. But I wasn't even looking at the screen because as I said earlier, I'm sitting here texting you, and all of a sudden there's like 5, 6, 7 women just eliminated, like big names, because Nia knocks them all off the apron or something, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Something like that. I honestly don't even know. Like I looked up because once again I was texting you, and like I looked up and I just saw like this avalanche of women all going over the top. I'm like, what the fuck's happening? And then I'm like, wait, is that Bianca? Wait, is that Wait, is that they just eliminated everybody?
yeah, and then like I kind of caught up with it, started focusing, and I'm just like, man, just me personally, I felt like that killed some momentum of the
All
match.
of the momentum.
I would have loved to see some more mixing it up with all these contenders, like she could win, she could win, she could win, but all of a sudden, nope, they're all gone in one fell swoop. And it just felt like a weird decision. I know you want to make Nia Jax always look like a powerhouse because she's so big, but it's just like, I wish I would have seen like Bianca be able to mix it up with Charlotte or anything, you know what I mean? Just like so many women just got knocked out in that one moment. And I feel like that was kind of just disappointing a little bit.
100%. It killed all of the momentum, and it was clearly one of those things where they're like, okay, well Charlotte's winning. We don't want her to get booed.
Yes.
So we need Nia Jax there because that's the only person that can not like get cheered over Charlotte. But we need to get rid of everybody at the exact same time so there's no like
Chance.
chance for anybody to boo or to understand what's really happening and who really got eliminated. Because if we eliminate them one by one, then people can have a chance to voice their displeasure. So we're going to do it in just some massive mess. We'll give Nia that heat for 30 seconds, and then people will just crave Charlotte to win. Now, they still had Roxanne in there, and the fact that Roxanne went to number 2 was kind of surprising to me. Like, I was almost like, is she just like trolling them and being like, you're not going to get rid of me?
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. No, but I think you just said it perfectly. That's like the perfect
Yeah.
explanation for that. Like, I could see them sitting down in the writer's room before this and figuring out how they were gonna do this finish and being like, we kinda gotta do it this way. We can't have Charlotte and them eliminate Bianca
Bianca.
because they might boo. We can't have we can't have Charlotte eliminate, fucking Liv Morgan because people still like her and you know what I mean? We know, uh, it just I don't know. It was
Yeah. Julia, what's her name? Stephanie Vacour, the NXT women,
Mhm.
Jordan Grace, we got to get her out of there because if we let her stick around too long, people are going to want her to win. We can't Nikki Bella. Let's get these women out of here
Yeah,
as
it was
fast as possible.
just anticlimactic. Like, and then
Extremely.
at that point, you just looked at who was left, and you're like, all right, Charlotte won. You know what I
It
mean?
was as soon as that like avalanche of women went out, it was like, well,
Yeah.
like this
Yeah.
match, it sucked all of the energy out of the match. It sucked all of the emotion out of the match. It just all of a sudden was just like, well, let's just get to it then. Let's just do it. Just do what you guys want to do. Um,
Yeah, that's the one bad thing I have to say about the match. Everything else I really liked. That one kind of
yeah,
was.
I didn't I didn't need to see Charlotte win the Royal Rumble. Charlotte always finds a way of basically coming back and saying, "Hey, I want a championship match." And they go, "Hey, okay.
You're
So
Charlotte
let's
Flair.
do that." Why did you have to give her the Rumble win? She could have just literally said, "Hey, Tiffy, fight me." And Tiffany would be like, "Okay."
Right.
And the match would have been set. Like she didn't need to win the Royal Rumble to get a championship match. Charlotte gets a championship match by saying, "Give me a championship match." She's done it every time.
Just certain people. And it's hard to figure out when it changes for certain people, but it's like there's just certain people when they are there, if they're not in the championship picture, they don't know what to do with them. It's like if they're not going for a title, what do we do? What do we do with Rhea if she's not champion? What do we do with Charlotte if she's not champion? What do we do with fucking I'm surprised Roman doesn't have a belt yet. It's like, what are we gonna do with Roman if he's not champion? Yeah, so I agree. It was very expected, like no surprises.
Right.
As soon as we heard she was coming back, we're like, oh, Charlotte's got to be in the championship picture. She's Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
Now the only question remains is who does she choose, and who do you prefer her to choose between Rhea Ripley and Tiffany Stratton?
I think Tiffany Stratton. I mean, I'm not going to say anything. That Rhea and Charlotte have already had two WrestleMania matches before, and they were both outstanding, and they both pretty much stole the show for the night that they were on, if not the whole weekend. So, like, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to be like, yeah, give me another Rhea and Charlotte match, but I would kind of like the idea of just seeing something new.
Yeah,
I think
I'm.
I think there's a lot you can do with Tiffany and Charlotte, and especially Charlotte being on. She's on SmackDown, so it just makes sense that she would stay on SmackDown. I don't see her moving. Her husband's on SmackDown, so I don't see her going anywhere. Um,
Yeah, and I think there's more story you can tell. Like we've told the Rhea and Charlotte story,
except yeah,
but the Tiffany and Charlotte story is new and fresh. They can kind of come at it like Charlotte being like, you're younger me or you're trying to be me. You're
Mhm.
not me. I'm going to take your title. And Tiffany be like, no, move out of the way. I am the new Charlotte Flair. Um,
and if they do it right, you can really come out of this with because technically, Tiffany Stratton is the heel, and Charlotte is technically the face. So you
but
could
is that how they're going to do it? Because crowds like Tiffany.
well, and there's a way that you can work this to make Tiffany bigger.
Um,
Like they could work a program, and Tiffany could walk out of this being a bigger star.
I think that'd probably be the goal.
I mean, yeah, I would hope that that's the idea. Like, okay, Charlotte, go to WrestleMania, make this girl a star. So, and I really think Tiffany really should beat her. So,
I think she should too. I think she's,
so
if they're being,
otherwise, what are we doing here?
yeah, just keep recycling back to the old, Charlotte Flair as champion. We've done that. Like, put Tiffany over big time if you're going to do that. Like, make her one of the faces of your women's division by retaining at WrestleMania against Charlotte Flair. Just initial reaction. Who knows what happens in the next 2 months?
Yeah, who knows? We got 70 something days. Who do you think Rhea if Charlotte sticks on SmackDown?
That is a very good question. I don't know. I think the live stuff is done. I don't think it can be live.
Yeah, no, you can't do that.
I had this feeling in my head where I was hoping like Bianca Belair might get into the world title picture. I know that's a match people have been clamoring for because they're
Right.
both so good in ring. They're both big, but they're both strong, so they could match. I just think Bianca's gonna get caught up in the Jade if Jade comes back and Naomi and that little
Hmm.
like triangle right there. So I
Yeah.
don't know if it's gonna be her. Bailey, I think Bailey's fall in the last year needs to be studied. I don't understand. You like the biggest thing in the world last WrestleMania, and just over the past year, it's like nobody cares anymore. Just I don't know. Bailey was handled weird.
Yeah.
But could it be somebody coming back? I don't know. Is Alexa Bliss gonna get a push? Is um
Depends on what show she's on. Yeah.
Becky Lynch gonna come back
What,
and make
and that's a whole other thing of like, what about where was Becky? Where was Asuka? Where was I feel like there were a couple other women. I was like, where are these women that I felt like should have been in this match that weren't?
well, yeah, Becky, her last match was losing to Rhea, right? So Becky comes back.
She lost to Liv Morgan.
Was it Liv?
It was Liv. I
Mhm.
swear she had that match in like Saudi Arabia with Liv.
You're right, because when Rhea got injured, Becky got the belt. Okay. And then Liv beat Becky for that belt. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. You're right.
So
We're on
yeah,
track. We're on
where's
track.
Becky?
To answer your question, I do not know who Rhea's opponent is going to be at
I'm thinking
WrestleMania.
Io Sky.
Potentially.
I'm thinking either Io if they want to push Jordan Grace if she's on. I don't know what show she's on. I mean that'd be a hell of a rocket to strap to her and be like, "Hey, you've been in this company since January. Here's a Mania match." But
They decide the other women's contender with an elimination chamber match too, right?
they should. So yeah, they'll pick 6 women. It'll probably be Io, Liv, probably Jordan Grace, Alexa Bliss,
Bianca,
Raquel,
Bianca Belair.
Bianca.
Yeah.
Maybe would be the 6
Yeah. Maybe.
for an elimination chamber.
Got Nia Jax, who they always like to put in things.
They do. So Nia Jax Nia Jax could take the Alexa Bliss because I don't know what Alexa Bliss is.
How fast they're gonna push her. Yeah.
Well, and I don't know if she's gonna is she gonna default to the Wyatt 6 over on SmackDown?
Right.
You know, I mean, so I don't know exactly what show she's even gonna be on. So it's hard to be like, yeah, she's gonna be part of the elimination chamber. But
Crowds
yeah,
are
it depends. If Bianca's gonna get caught up in a Jade Cargill thing, then
yeah. Crowds are loving them some Chelsea Green right now too, so don't count her out.
yeah,
Like,
I could see her.
I'm trying to get the crowd to boo her. And like if she would get jumped by like 4 people and they wanted the crowd to be like, yeah, beat her ass, and they were booing when she was getting beat
Dude,
up.
because her coming in when all those girls were looking at each other and it was like Bianca and
Yeah.
Jada Parker and Naomi, and they were all like, "What's up, girls?" And then Chelsea walked in the middle. It was funny.
Yeah, they like her. She has charisma. Like she's gonna mark my words, in a year she'll be something. She'll be like a champion, like a top champion.
Yeah, she's funny, and I'm glad that they did these women's secondary titles, just to give her something,
Mhm.
give her the spotlight. She's killing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's killing it. But yeah, I overall enjoyed that match and might even enjoyed it more than the men's, which I couldn't tell you. If you would ask me that 24 hours ago, I would have probably told you to go to hell.
I don't know, man. Sometimes when they have these kind of shows where it's like the women have one and the men's have one, sometimes I just like the women's better.
Yep.
Women have better War Games matches in the past. And
Dude,
women,
honestly, and I know people gave that War Games match this year all kinds of shit, I'm not going to say Nia Jax telling people to duck while she swings a chair was good. I still had more fun watching that women's War Games match than I did watching the Bloodline versus the Bloodline one. That
like,
Bloodline versus the Bloodline one to me was boring AF.
I agree.
That match was so fucking boring.
Mm.
And the women one, yeah, okay. Was it perfect? No. Was some things cringe? Yes. Some things were absolutely cringe. Did I have more fun watching it? Yup.
And that might be the case this year for the Rumble too. To be
I think honestly, I think you're right. The more that I drink and the more that I think about it.
yeah.
So Rumble matches out. Let's wrap up this show. We had 2 out of 3 falls. DIY versus the Motor City Machine Guns. They came up in the second match after the Women's Royal Rumble. And yeah.
Hey guys, please don't turn off this podcast because we're not going to talk about this very long. I know. Us saving this till like 4th seems weird, and it is weird. But you want to know why we did it? Because we don't care. Listen, this match on paper seems like it should have been a very technical, good match. All 4 of these guys are good in ring. Uh, but I'm just being honest, I don't care. I don't care about the tag division. I don't really know Motor City Machine Guns that well before I came into the company anyway, so they haven't even been around that long. DIY, I mean, they've been part of some cool matches, but it's just like I'm not invested enough in the story that they're trying to tell with that to, like, really care. So this match is when I cooked for my dinner. I really did.
They didn't give them enough time
Yeah.
to really get to anybody, to get anywhere. For a
Mm.
2 out of 3 falls match, I thought they were gonna get at least 20 minutes, and I can guarantee you they did not have 20 minutes.
Oh, like 15 maybe.
Easily. Like, all of a sudden, the first fall was done in, like, less than 5 minutes, and I was like, "Huh." One fall's already done, and you're like, "I missed it."
And then just even to end the thing with, like, interference from the Street Profits, and, like, you have DIY win because the Street Profits come in and hit somebody with a crutch, and they're, like, out for their revenge. It's just like, that's how you end a match on SmackDown or
Yeah,
Raw, not
yeah.
like at a not one of 4 matches at one of your big 4 PLEs. So,
No, sadly, and like you said, on paper, yes, if you're telling me DIY is gonna have a 2 out of 3 falls match with the Motor City Machine Guns, I'm gonna be like, "Hell yeah, give it to me." Did not belong on this show. What they gave us did not belong on this show.
did not.
And after the women's Rumble match, my attention was not there. I could not give this, for whatever reason, they were never able to attract my attention to get me into this match, and I was never into this at all.
No, the crowd was
And the
cr
crowd was dead. Yeah,
crowd was ice cold the whole time, I think. Probably if you ask Triple H and in an honest moment or whoever's booking this, he would be regrets. Like, I could have done something else with that,
yeah.
but
I knew he wanted to give his boys a shot in front of the largest crowds any of them have ever performed in front of, and that's awesome. And I
yeah,
hope that they enjoyed that moment that they got. But the time that they were allotted and what they actually did just didn't
didn't work.
work.
Yeah.
Didn't
So
work.
that's all we have on that.
But then we did have a ladder match for the WWE Heavyweight Championship with
Oh my
Cody
god,
Rhodes
I
and
forgot
Kevin
that was the
Owens.
thing we talked about yet.
Yeah, I thought that you made it when you were like, "We're saving this for last." I was like, "No, no, we got one more.
Yeah.
We ain't done yet." Um,
Well,
but we did have a heavyweight ladder match, and honestly, this falls in the same camp. I'm not gonna say that there weren't moments in this. These guys did come. Kevin Owens. I mean, I'm to the surprise of no one. I guess we should walk it back for a second. Like you said, DIY is still the tag champs. Street
yep.
Profits got involved. Didn't necessarily end in DQ, but then they beat everybody with crutches after the match. But DIY still won.
Well,
Cody Rhodes is still the WWE Heavyweight Champ, as you could probably tell from us talking about who's going to pick Cody for the time.
what? We did this out of order.
We did this all out of order, and we'll blame Chris's dinner being alcohol. No script and just going off the cuff. But it still comes down to, I mean, I was more engaged in this match. This match still they were able to get me. They started doing some big moves and they started going through. They pulled out a tiny ladder which killed me.
'Cause especially because McAfee kept cracking jokes about it.
Yeah, they were obsessed with this tiny ladder causing chaos. So I enjoyed this match. I thought this was a solid match. It was one of those matches that you knew the ending already. So you were just like, can you guys entertain me in a ladder match, which we've seen all kinds of crazy ladder matches over the years. So what can you guys do? And they had a couple spots that got me. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, to fast forward to the end a little bit, I hope this is the end of Cody KO because I'm kind of worried a little bit. But they did, if this is the last of it, they put on a fun final match. Ladder match is the most important thing about them. Like to make the crowd feel them, make us feel them at home, is you have to have big spots in ladder matches. What they're for. The ladders are in there, so these guys gotta you know, punish themselves and give their bodies up to the ladders.
a
And that's
little
what
bit.
these two kind of did. I mean, go through history, all the Dudley Boys and Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian, and who put ladder matches on the map, and even back to Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon. Like the big thing you got to do is take big bumps. Uh,
Sadly, normally you would do that at WrestleMania and not 2 months before and hope you don't get hurt.
yeah, even in the post show, I bet you it's kayfabe, but the lady's like, Cody had some injuries. We hope he can perform. Uh, Coming up, like
He looked
we're not
okay.
gonna have him at the press conference afterwards. He will be on SmackDown though, so I'm sure he's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it delivered with big spots. Neither of these two guys are known for like high flying stuff, which is a lot of times associated with ladder matches, but the few big spots they did delivered,
Yeah.
like made me gasp a couple times, like, oh shit, that was crazy. Like,
Yeah, that twisting suplex off the top rope through the ladder was nasty.
oh my gosh, yeah. And a couple other things like KO's full back just going on the corner of the thing, and like
Yeah.
that, like you just said, that suplex. Nothing bigger than obviously the Alabama slam at the end, where it just like put KO, who's a 260-pound man, in a pretzel or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that
Uh,
looked nasty.
it looked nasty. So,
And
uh,
how he went down and the fact that he came up bloody made me wonder if that was legit.
mhm.
Like, because there would be no reason why he would have bladed for that spot.
Yeah, like, what'd your face hit, man? Why?
Yeah, right? Like, why are you bleeding? Like, I really wasn't expecting him. So then it made me go, was that legit?
Yeah, yeah. It was some crazy spots. So, I thought the match was good. But again, I hope it's the end of their feud. It's been a few. It's been going on for a while now, and it gave us what it was supposed to, like the brutality of it, the package pile driver, the ladder match, everything. Just like, let's move on to the next thing,
Yep.
right?
Yep. I'm happy. They've had 3 matches.
Yeah.
Cody's won all of them. They're moving
Right.
on.
Yeah.
Sammy's involved in some way. I kind of was almost hoping Sammy was going to kind of pick a side or pick a direction, or they would move that story a little bit. I mean, clearly it seems like they're heading towards KO and Sammy for Mania, which is
Yes.
great. So I'm cool with that. If they want to fight, give them a match at Mania. Done. I'm in for it. It'll be awesome. What's the story? Where are we going with it? But I kind of almost wanted to see a little bit more of that tonight, just with like what after that Alabama slam off the table through the ladder, and Sammy's standing there, and then Cody kind of just gets in the ring, and Sammy's just watching him, and Cody's just awkwardly climbing the ladder, and I'm like, is something supposed to happen? Is something supposed to happen? And Sammy's just, I'm like, Sammy, get in the ring.
I think I texted you that like KO's laying there like almost dead, and Cody just doesn't care. He's
No.
like still yelling over his bloodied body on the ground.
Well, and as soon as you said that, he got out of the ring and went over to the table to stand there over his body. I was like,
Oh,
oh shit, he really doesn't care.
Cody's ruthless now.
Yeah, he ain't messing around. Uh, so yeah, it was a good match. It was a solid match. It was a good way to end their feud. It was good. It was well placed on this card.
Good.
I got nothing bad to say about this match. It was fun.
And I kind of hope they retire the winged eagle now, like so that doesn't have to be carried around.
Yeah, it should be gone.
It's always weird when a guy just carries around a fake belt when he's not the champion, or like a unearned thing.
Yeah,
Like, go
yeah,
away,
I should be gone unless for whatever reason Cody's gonna
Gary Bolt.
adopt it.
Yeah.
But then only one belt. Don't be like Roman, who's carrying two belts that really are one.
Oh, that was so weird for so long.
Especially after they gave him the belt that was supposed to be the unified one. They're like, hey, you were carrying this blue one for a long time. Well, now here's this gold one that's really the mixture of red and blue. But you're still going to carry that blue one around for a while just because.
For a while, he had the black one and the blue one.
Yeah.
Did away with the red one before that. So
Yeah.
he was carrying the black one and the blue one. Then they gave him the gold one, and he wore the gold one around his waist and carried the other two on his like.
Yeah. That was what he did.
Yeah.
We're like, dude, the gold one was supposed to be the unified one. Why are you still have those other two?
Yeah. But I think after a couple weeks, they were like, "Yeah, that's too much."
It was way too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ulafala, 3 belts when he's one champ. Why do you have 3 belts when you're one champ?
Right.
You're not like a 3 champ, but so Royal Rumble 2025 is in the books. We are now officially on the road to WrestleMania. I know we might have talked some shit or had some complaints, but I really enjoyed the show. I had fun. I had fun watching it, hanging out with you, a couple of our other buddies, doing some texting. Um, I had a good time with this show. Like I said, the winners don't not roll my socks up and down, but
Yeah, no. The winners don't do a ton for me, but I'm all for seeing what they do with the next 2 months and how we get to WrestleMania. And
yeah,
Royal Rumble is always just the first step. So it's like, okay,
yep,
blend the seeds for Mania. Now let's see what you guys can do over the next 2 months to grow it and get me to the show that I love the most every year. So
yep, yep. So, what did you think about the Royal Rumble 2025? Is what year it is now.
yeah.
You know how to do that. Hit us up on social media at Raise the Geek. Follow us on all podcasts, social media services at Raise the Geek. You can also shoot us an email, raisethegeek@gmail.com, and let us know what you thought of the Royal Rumble. We'll be back next week talking about something.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We all
There's always something. Try to get Tony back here to talk about something and some
Tony,
movie or TV show.
Tony hates wrestling.
He does hate wrestling. He hates it with a passion. So we were just like, let's just talk about Rumble and
Get to something else next week.
we'll get to something else next week. I think he's hanging out with people. He has friends,
Yeah. Lucky.
And I know right now he's listening to this going, fuck you guys.
Sounds
Yeah. No, we just got in the weeds of that. So I think with that said, that's going to do it for us this week. So for Raise the Geek, I'm Chris.
and I'm done.
Thanks for checking out the show.
Or geek is all we speak.